Today, now let's talk about causation does matter. And so causation helps to understand, answer question that makes decision about the causation. Now let's talk about the causation does matter. It helps to answer questions to make decision about health, government investment, web product development. For example. Um, like for example, it helps to answer questions as does job programs help workers to get a job? Does high quality education cause higher income in the long run? These are the questions it helps to answer. And next, next point is need experimentation, which should go with a counterfactual or good statistical design. So to actually derive a causation, we need some kind of experiment that that links the variable between links the interesting variables to the effect variable we want to test. Like for example, let's say we were experimenting if red wine can increase the life expectancy of a person, then number of the wine is how many number of wines you need to drink is that we were going to test. And interesting variable is the number of years is a life expectancy of a person in years. So we'll talk about this, and we can do this by actually Uh, we can do this by actually using the Bayes rule for randomness, or we can design an experiment with a counterfactual, which is a scientific experiment. And also, while we are doing this, the magnitude effect is also important point we need to keep in mind. Although this cannot be usually uh, determined accurately, but this is really important thing. What this tells us is like how much we have to change to gain 1 unit of return. Like for example, how many glasses of wine do you need to drink to live 1 year longer? This kind of thing it helps to determine the magnitude effect helps to determine. So while we are doing this kind of experiment, social experiment, there are too many variables to look at. Like for example, in purchasing behavior, there are too many variables, right? And there are so many variables that we look at. And to help us guide in which variables to look at, we have to use expert user, and we have to use trial and error, and we have to use smell test. These are our methods we have to use to look at the variables out of millions of variables to look at. And once we find the variables, then we will test those variables. And if we find a large effect, then we can use this variable. We can pull those. We can use those variables as our levers, and we can use this and pull those levers to maximize the return of the variable of interest. In this way, we can use our causation to improve the quality of life of people in our daily lives.